Hello, glad you made it to YouTube. This will be my new home for a while, so stop by anytime. I'm super excited, super grateful about the episodes that we have coming up. I am right now just very grateful to be in this moment. Are you in a moment? Take a breath, get in the moment, right? It's all about the moments. Life is about the moments. Make sure that you stop by anytime. Tune in today because my episode's about to start right now. Check it out. I have an amazing guest. There's so much more to come. Make sure that you subscribe to Waking Up with Ivory, okay? I'm super grateful, super excited about what my team has put together, super excited about the guests that we have, super excited about today's guest. You're in for a treat. So, again, thank you for your support, and stop by anytime, all right? God bless you.
What up, champ?
What's up, Chris? How you doing, bro?
Damn, you skinny.
Working on it.
Oh, you got my favorite shirt on.
Waking up with Ivory.
Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's an amazing day.
Waking up with Ivory.
Guys, good morning. How are you both doing? You amazing couple, Chris and Vanessa. Welcome to the show. How are you guys doing this morning?
We're good. Thank you for having us.
I'm really mad because our lighting doesn't look like yours.
So how did you get into casting, and like what was your reason, like why? What's your why? What started you into this business?
So I have a
She wanted to
background.
meet you guys.
I had a background in education, and I had taken that knowledge base and skill set and had started in the finance industry teaching this software, like financial software programs to different companies like Merrill Lynch and Goldman Sachs and all of that. It was a software that was developed by this company, Strategic Insight. And 9/11 happened, and just before, I want to say just after Thanksgiving of 2001, I was new to the company, so they were laying off some of the newer people that had been there. And I ran into a friend of mine on the F platform, the F train at like 11:30, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just coming from casting. What are you up to?" And I was like, I'm kind of in between jobs. I just got laid off and I'm looking to pivot because that wasn't really where it was at. He was a casting director, and he said, "Why didn't you come work for me? You've got a skill set I don't have of organization and structure and what have you." And that was it. I started casting. My brother and I were latchkey kids and couldn't wait for a snow day or couldn't wait to get the bus because we knew my mother wasn't leaving work to come take us to school. She just couldn't. She was working in the city and we lived just outside the city. So we would just consume TV. Whatever was on, like we were just watching. And I was always fascinated by story and structure and how these people became these characters that you believed they were those people. And so when he said, why don't you help me? I fell in love with casting. And so I stayed in the industry in that space for decades.
And Soul Plane was the first one your first casting job? Was Soul
No, Soul Plane was like my first studio film. So when I was living in New York before I moved to LA, we were doing, every music video that Def Jam and Rockefeller were releasing, and Bad Boy we were casting. We had done like 3 Nike spots. We had done a couple of Sprite spots. A couple independent films in New York. Winter hit, and the production season in New York went down, and early spring I ended up taking like a teaching job at a preschool that was a couple of days a week. And for their spring break, I decided to come visit my brother in Los Angeles. And while I was here, he called to say, "Hey, I just got a job in LA. Do you want to work with me? I'm going to co-cast with somebody out there. You should go meet them." And so I went to go meet this woman, Sheila Jaffe, who was like, she's an icon in the industry. She had done Red Shoe Diaries, Sopranos, Subway Stories. She had done
Most of Mark Wahlberg's
like at that
projects.
point she had done a couple like Brad Anderson projects, and so she was a big wig already. And I went to interview with Sheila, and I was like 45 minutes late because I had gotten lost in Los Angeles trying to get there. And I think the only thing that saved me was she asked me, "Where are you from?" And I was like, I was born in the Bronx. And she was like, "Oh, were you?" And like all was forgiven because she's a Bronx girl, and that was it. Like we got married that day and have been together ever since.
So I was always the class clown. I was in high school the commissioner of assemblies, so I kind of was in charge of bringing talent to the school, and then I would also be the host, the MC, to bring up the talent. But it wasn't until I got to college, and a good friend of mine, we were in summer school, and there was a group of girls around, and they were like, "What do you want to do?" And he was like, "I want to be a stand-up comedian." And they were like, and all the girls were like, "Oh my God, I love stand-ups. My favorite is this, 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 and this, and this, this, and this, and this. Can you tell us a joke?" And they were all over him. I was like, and they're like, "What about you, Chris?" And I was like, stand-up comedian. Like I really had no intention of being a stand-up, but I saw and it wasn't just women. When I saw the attention that this group gave him from saying he wanted to be a stand-up comedian, I just knew that that was something I would like to feel. And from there, both of us went and did an open mic at the Laugh Factory. Actually, we had to stand in line at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon or early evening to get picked. I didn't get picked, he got picked, which fueled my fire even more. And then we did open mics around town, the Comedy Store, the Improv. There's a place called the Natural Fudge, where they would make you'd have to buy something for at least $5 or bring 5 guests to get on stage. So I would just make sure I bought. Yeah, they would make you buy, because they really preferred if you could bring an audience. But if you couldn't find anybody, if you were new in town, you'd have to buy something to eat, which could go into the kitty, and then we would do open mics at Natural Fudge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and on Fountain.
The Natural Fudge?
Yeah, it was a music place.
Since you guys are dealing with relationships, I actually did a post yesterday called talking about the 5 love languages. Are you guys familiar with the 5 love languages?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that last week with Boris and Nicole, like how people speak to one another. I mean, I know that there are like 5 set love languages, and it's a great book that if anybody hasn't read it, they should. But we touched upon that a little more last week with Boris and Nicole, because they're very into the love language thing. It is important to be cognizant of what your partner's love language is. I think they're also, your love language has become fluid based on where your partner is at that time and what they're going through, that can switch up for them. So people need to be aware of that. I know for myself that there are spaces that I'm in, whether like I'm really focused on work, that I need him to speak to me for a different love language, because I'm just so hyper focused on this that what might be usual for me isn't at that moment. And I know for him, his love language is always physical connection and touch, and because he's a very affectionate type of person, that's not always my love language. So I have to be really more aware of that, especially when he's home and not on the road, because there is sometimes that distance where he's away that I become so conditioned to him being gone that I'm not aware of it. So when he gets back home, I try and be much more affectionate. Or even now, like in these last few weeks of being quarantined together, I think I've been much more affectionate with him.
Speaking of, how do you feel like your relationship has it enhanced, stayed the same, or kind of decreased since all of this coronavirus? Just a simple question.
Yeah, I think like it's we've always had a really good connection, and we, like I said last night, like we've always been friends. Like when we started dating, it wasn't like we whisked away on vacations or like these romantic dinners. It wasn't really that type of courtship. It was so simple, and I think that's what
attracted us to each
other.
other.
Like attracted us to each other.
She would come to the comedy club and take notes. We would go to the driving range and hit balls. Like she became the homie.
I had been in other relationships, and I had lived a life in New York, and I just felt like I don't need nor want any of that, because that's so surface and that's so it's such a dog and pony show, it felt like to me, that I was like, I just want to know who somebody is, and I'm really cool on just being simple and connecting in a much more real way than what all of that is. And so when we started doing more of those things, they felt more special. It didn't feel like there was this fancy date that somebody was trying to show me how wonderful they were. Or, you know, I already knew my worth. I knew that what I wanted, and I also grew up in with a mentality, and it was raised that, you know, like, if you want something, be willing to get it and do it for yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. And always go knowing that somebody may tell you they're going to do something for you, and if they don't end up doing it for you, make sure that you can take care of it yourself.
What were some of the tools that you guys use when you guys hit that that mark? And being in this industry in LA, it's harder. Like, you guys have been together 17 years, and LA time, that's 34 years. Because you already know how it is out here. So how do you guys manage that? And so you can throw some jewels out there for people to get past.
We communicate.
Yeah.
Like, we don't let things go bubble over and like become something that's gonna, create any type of like malice towards each other. So once something starts to be a little like, we're immediate. Like, I don't like that. Well, you shouldn't have said that to me. And can you do this another way? And it's like, I'm sorry. And sometimes we have different methods on how, like, she likes to meet it head on and discuss it right then. And sometimes I might need a minute, and she understands that I might need a minute. So I'll leave and come back, and then we can discuss. But we just make sure whatever it is that's bothering the other person, we address it.
That's key. Communication is key, because if you don't communicate, it creates distance, misunderstanding, disconnect. Chris, when's your birthday, off subject?
January 2nd.
So you are a Capricorn?
Yep.
And you are, I did a little bit of research, you're October 23rd. You're a Scorpio. Capricorn.
How you gonna look up my wife's birthday and you ain't look up mine?
I am
I knew more about you than I knew about Vanessa, so I wanted to do a little bit of.
Oh, got you. Okay, I forgive you.
I'm on the cusp, so I'm very much.
Plus, she's prettier than you too, Chris.
But yeah, I'm very much I like a lot of balance in my life, so I am that side of Libra, but I fight and love like a Scorpio. I am like, I just want it said and done and over with, and my intention is not to hurt your feelings. If through what I say hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. However, I'm not sorry for what I said, because that what was said was either how I felt or what I feel is my truth. And if I don't speak that, then I'm not speaking my mind, and I'm not able to clear the situation.
And she's gotten better.
Perfect. Now, Chris, as a man on the other side of that, how do you receive that? Because men need to hear this. So, because women out there have got to express themselves.
Well, so either she's gotten better or I've gotten used to it. But I think she's actually gotten better at knowing, the family sensitivities and some of the things, because she comes to stuff head on, and it's kind of how she grew up. They don't pitter patter, they don't titty tap, whatever the word is. There's no gray area. It's black and white with them. So
no, it's not. I don't say it's black and white. I think what he's trying to say is that there's no dancing around it. Like, we're gonna come hard, we're gonna say what it is, and we're gonna duke it out, and then we're gonna sit down and have coffee.
Yeah, but there's ways.
That's who we are.
There's ways to even do that, and so I think in being together for 17 years, we've learned how to handle that, and for her, I think she addresses things better than she did in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And you have a thick skin anyway, because you're a comedian. You have to have a thick skin.
Yeah, but instead of like, you smell like doo-doo, she might go, when was the last time you took a shower? You know what I mean? So, that's what growing up together is all about.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we also have gone through marriage counseling, and I'm a big believer in therapy. And so I speak to my therapist, and who also happens to be our couples therapist. I see her individually, and it's been helpful to have her just as a sounding board, because I get to say things to her that I don't necessarily want some of my girlfriends to know, because at the end of the day, you don't always want your friends to know everything that's happening in your marriage because, you know,
They judge.
sometimes they could be judgmental, or, you know, some things you just want to keep a little bit to yourself, or you want more of a non-biased opinion. You don't want them to form an opinion about him, let's just say, if they said something that they don't like, and now all of a sudden there's this. So, you know, I've got great girlfriends, and we talk about a lot of things like marriage and all of that, but when sometimes when it gets a little bit grainy, like really granular, I sometimes pull back and choose to speak to my therapist, because I feel like this is a really neutral party. There's nothing that's going to I don't have to worry about any backlash. And I think what's smart is choosing a therapist who you feel totally comfortable with, that you can say anything to and know you're not judged. And
it works out sometimes when they're married too.
Yeah, and in our case, I happened to find somebody who grew up in the business and who had seen her parents go through so many growing pains because of the way that the industry impacted their marriage. So she had a really good perspective on some of the things that we've gone through, or we're going through.
Every time I talk about Chris, and I mention people, you know, Chris Spencer, like regular people, most people do. Most people do. Some people don't. And this is just being honest. But the one thing about Chris, every celebrity knows Chris. Like the average person that doesn't really, you know, they don't know him as much as celebrity. Like this guy is. But what I like about Chris is like Chris. What I love about you, I'm talking like you're not there. What I love about you, Chris, man, I met you years ago when I was in a singing group with Christian, my cousin Chuck, Malik, and all those guys, Bottom Line. And that was, we started balling together. We were balling together first, like on a team at the YMCA, Brooklyn, Dwayne,
right.
all those guys.
Because you played at Temple, right? No, San Jose.
I played at San Jose State, but I'm from Philly, so
From Philly.
when I was in LA, I lived with Eddie Jones because he played.
Right. Yes. Eddie Jones played for Philly.
And you had a nice jump shot too. But Chris had a Jimmy. Like we had a great squad. That's another. We had a great squad at that. Why? Wait, Tony.
I need my kids to see this.
Chris. I mean, we light up Brooklyn. Vanessa. You weren't around at that time. It was before, because that was like 20 years ago. You guys met in 2003.
Yeah, no, it was before me. I think it was pre
torn quads.
Yeah.
Chris, I think Chris might have been able to dunk back then still.
He was. I think he messed up the quads trying to dunk.
In a dunk contest.
Oh yeah.
That I shouldn't have been in.
Yeah, that was the end of that.
But getting back to it, what I love, Chris, man.
You keep bragging about how great I am. Go.
No, get that. Enough of that. You know, but what I love, man, is that, and I say this all the time, man, even when other people, like, one thing, man, you have not changed at all. I don't care what level you're on, I don't care if you're working on a project in Miami. If I text you or I call you, I need something, you're there, man. And so you have set the precedent, set the bar for me. When people say they're too busy, I don't have time to get back to you, to me, that's people get in contact with who they want to get in contact with.
Absolutely.
And you do a very good job of staying consistent throughout the years, man. So I think that's why you're having a lot of your success, because of who you are, man, because you really are a genuinely good person. I hear people say that know you, man. So that's why I'm glad to have you on this show today. You and your awesome wife, Vanessa. Like, literally, I'm really happy to have you guys on, man. So I appreciate you. So I want to say that in front of everybody. You're a real cat. You're funny as heck stand-up. Like, you're hilarious. You're like one of my favorite comedians. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of comedians? Normally, the Mount Rushmore has 4 people. I would say maybe 5 of people who you are maybe not, you do think that they're the greatest, but who are influenced.
Right. My influences. So Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Damon Wayans, and here's the dark horse who you're gonna love as well, Daryl Heath.
Whew. Amazing.
Did you see his face? The world has no idea, Ivory. This dude is a savant. I actually want to do a documentary called Where the Hell is Daryl Heath? To this day, I've never seen anyone that magical on stage who could paint pictures. And like, I think I'm quick, and my quick is more verbal. His quick with the physical, I've never seen to this day. I mean, it's Pryor-esque. You know what I mean?
It's amazing. You know, he's correct, Vanessa. That's why I haven't heard the album in a while, so it was a genuine reaction, like literally. Like, he's literally, like, to me, almost like essentially on a level of a Jim Carrey as far as like his
Exactly.
ability to move and his facial expressions and his quickness. And him and Alex together.
Yeah,
When they did their
bananas.
skits back in the day at the Comedy
Yes.
Store, forget about it. But I want to talk about couple stuff more because I want to talk about your show. Like I watched the show last night with DeAndre and
Don't say DeAndre. Dondre.
DeAndre.
Yeah, you said it right the first time.
Dre, but I'm used to saying Dre.
Right.
But I'm trying to say his name so everybody who's listening knows. So DeAndre, Whitfield, and Sally. Amazing,
right?
Amazing. So many tools to take away from that. So many tools. I mean, for life. I mean, DeAndre has a book out called Mill versus Man. I mean, so many jewels were dropped last night. I mean, I think it just changed lives. What you guys are doing on that show is incredible. I just continue to do more of it. It's amazing. And like you said earlier, you guys are going to do that show later on. You know, you had a schedule to do it later, but because of the time right now, put it out now, and it's perfect timing. I think you're healing relationships, you're healing couples, you're healing individuals with that. Continue to do more of that. When nights do they come on? How do they watch it? And
so it's Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. PST, that's Pacific Coast Standard Time, and then we're gonna start transferring them to YouTube. You'll definitely see DeAndre and Sally on YouTube. I don't know when. Boris and Nicole, we saved the story, but it didn't save into our archives. So I got to go figure out where the archives are, and then we'll actually post those on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Otherwise, Mag TV has right? Is it Mag?
Mag TV actually captured the first half of the Boris and Nicole show.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys right now, I think you guys, like what we're all doing right now is getting it. I like to use this term, getting out ahead of it, getting out ahead of life. Because right now we see essentially like this is going to be not all the way the new norm, but it's going to be a lot of things handled like this from corporations, from the entertainment industry, from education. So getting out ahead of it is so key, like creating shows like this and like really creating your own opportunity, because I feel like that's where we're heading. Like after this, because people are going to still be living in fear, not wanting to be in large gatherings. We're hearing all these things. So what we're doing right now, what you guys are doing right now, being proactive, putting out your own content that's so necessary right now to really distract people away from all the propaganda is, I think it's a beautiful thing. So continue, guys. I really love this.
Waking up with ivory.
Productions.